Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. Good day in the pool. A second. Hey, Real D. So what's going on, Real D? Today we're going to look at college football week 1. We haven't visited that in a bit. Not much pros we can talk about tomorrow. It's still preseason. We've reviewed the preseason boys. We'll look at baseball first, then do college's line, and then, well, we'll start with our normal gold pricing. Comex, the derivative boys are having fun. It was holding about 24.70 until about 8 in the morning, and then it derivative down to 24.50, and then derivative down to 24.39, and now back to 24.45. Silver 27.50. So the gold's confusing because it gets kind of high, and then but if you notice, the derivatives weren't like last week where they went all the way down to 23 something. Here they took a dive, but at 23.39 there's buying. So they can't go down as far. They got away with it once, but they can't keep doing it. So now we're getting help back at 24.46, and you notice they do it when the Asian market's closed about 10 o'clock. So that's their strategy. So the Asians will kick it up because now they're buying it cheap. I'm not sure how to pronounce you. Pat UG, Patug, help me out there. When do you see silver being unshackled from COMEX? Not for a while, because the gold's still on. It's now Basel 3, which means they have to settle if you take ownership of it, and it's a tier 1 supply. So gold is just about done with COMEX. Silver. So here's the gold, right? Here, look at the chart. Now let's go to silver's chart. And it's getting a little bit more roughed up. You can see how that went from 27.95 down to 27.22. And I'll come back a little bit. So you're still getting hit a little bit harder on it. The key to silver is everybody demanding the silver to do solar panels and the electric car batteries, although I don't know how much more of that's going to happen, but the solar panels are happening, which you have to have silver, and the Tomahawk missiles, you have to have silver to put in the missile. There's no substitute. So they need it. There's a lot of demand that is not being delivered. So I believe they're going right to the mines and saying, I need 5,000 tons of silver, or 500 tons or whatever. So the derivatives are still winning because they feel if silver really starts taking off, then gold will take off, and there goes the dollar. Well, I got news for them. The dollar is already gone. So the gold's coming up and about to explode a little bit more, but silver, but you have to look at it like, oh, this is incredibly cheap. This is the real strong buying opportunity. But you got to understand it's not stocks. I'm going to talk about this later. If you were to buy this, let's say you got this Mahomes card really cheap, 50 count. Would you expect it to move up quickly, or are you glad you got it? I mean, let's say you could get this. Let's say it's a $2,000 card because there's only 50 of them, and you could get it for $500. Would you buy it? Yeah. Would you then go, well, why isn't it moving? Why isn't it moving? Well, but you bought it. I got the Montana rookie card. It's $125,000, But when I bought it, I just bought it because I liked Montana and I wanted to get his rookie card. I tried to get the best condition one, but at that point, you're not even thinking of it. So my point is with the silver, you just got to keep buying it. We know it's worth $1,000 an ounce, but we know it's being held down and price fixed for this ridiculously $27.50. And then it's just a matter of how much is BRICS going to make we know BRICS is going to take the gold price way up. Are they going to do it with silver too? And probably, I mean, I'm very comfortable that I just got silver at $29.50. I'm not worried about it going down. We know the dollar's collapsing. This is the key, is this is going to zero and this is going to zero. So we know these don't have a value and they're going to zero. So it really leaves you no alternative. I think the key with silver is when gold gets really high and people realize the dollars are crap and they can't afford the gold, they'll go to the silver. So silver will come. It's just taking a little bit more to answer your question. You're welcome, Pat UG, I guess. I'll call you Pat. You certain on gold revaluation in October at the BRICS Summit? Yeah, they have to. Well, thank you. Well, that's what BRICS is doing. They're going to roll out a gold-backed currency. They can't leave the price at 2,400, right? There's too many people. There's too many Indians and Chinese. So I don't know what the price will be, but if you're going to roll it out, it'll be a higher price. So we'll see what happens. And it might be delayed a little bit. They might say, okay, we're rolling it out and the price we'll use is $3,000, but they certainly don't want the U.S. pricing their gold. And since the U.S. doesn't have any gold, what are you going to do with it, right? They don't have gold, so why does Russia and China want the U.S. controlling their gold price? So the Shanghai Gold Exchange will give you a better price than this. And again, this is just derivative shit. So I don't know if they'll end COMEX or they'll just say, well, we're using the Shanghai price and it's going to be 3,000. And then who's going to watch COMEX? COMEX is really not a free market on gold and silver, as I've told you. It's just more a mechanism to control the price, but not free market, not supply demand. So that's really where it's headed. I mean, I can't guarantee. I can guarantee they're going to roll out gold-backed BRICS currency. But when Zimbabwe did it, it didn't move the gold price. But that's Zimbabwe. This is Russia and China and BRICS. So I would think this would raise the gold price. But the key is the dollar is worthless. This is your key. This is worthless. This is the key. When this goes out and you can't keep it, ask the Romans. If we were in the Roman Empire, I'd get the same crap from some of these guys going, oh, we're Rome. Our dollar can't go. What do you mean collapse? How can we collapse? Well, you took all your gold and silver out of your coins and you're hyperinflating and yeah, you're going to collapse. Oh, no, we're the Roman Empire. We can't collapse. That's why I use that because this is a good comparison to what we got here. So that's really what you're doing is you're getting out of that. And, there's no timetable. There should be movement when they announce it in October. We'll see, or maybe it'll follow a little bit later, but you can see it's already moving. It's when did you ever think it'd be 24.45? I mean, it was 1900, 2000, and it would go up and down. This was caused by the U.S. having to buy to cover their shorts, and they got to do the same thing now. The U.S. owed 12 tons of gold to people who have took delivery who they haven't delivered to. So they're going to have to buy it at market. So this should go to 3,000 real soon. Probably for sure September, October. October, I look for big movements. Pat is great. Pat is great. Okay, yeah, I'll call you Pat. So 20K for gold next year. That would be wild. Well, yeah, it should get there. We got to see how the players are going to play this. That's the real value of it. Because of the derivatives keeping it down, it's not like the market. So when I show you eBay, every time they do these derivatives, that's not the real price of gold. Why is gold down today? Nobody's selling an ounce of gold. This is just derivatives. This is paper gold. The physical would still be going up. So that's where I'm driving at, is the real value of gold's much higher. Now we got to get to it, but so take example, our Mantle card, $72,000. Okay, has this gone down? No. It got all the way up to 70, and this is a 9. Imagine if it was a 10, it'd be 720,000. But do you see this card going down? See, this is the free market of this card. And this is where gold would be if you didn't stop price fixing it. That's why you see a quarter ounce at 685 versus Mantle at 72. I mean, if Mantle's 72, this should be 72 or close to it, because as much as I love Mantle, there's got to be more demand for gold. And the difference is, this is the difference in Bitcoin. Bitcoin's one thing, right? But everybody's going, oh, Bitcoin, this and that. Well, Mantle's worth more than Bitcoin. Mantle's 72,000. Bitcoin's what, 58, 59, maybe 60. So why is that? This is just one card. Here's a Mahomes card, 500 grand. Here's a Rolex, 820,000. Well, Bitcoin isn't going to see that yet. Here's a Rolex watch. So that's my point against the Bitcoin guys is, you can't just take something out of thin air and give it a value. It just doesn't work. Here's a Jordan card, 500 grand. Jordan rookie PSA 10. Okay, do you see it going down? No. This is the free market of the card. But gold is not doing free market. So when I say 20 grand, it's because of when it hits a free market. So right now it's basically, this is communism, right? Communism, the market is set by the government. And that's what gold is. It's set by the government. JP Morgan is the government. The banks are the government. And they set the price for the gold with these derivatives on the paper market, not on the physical market. So they're keeping the price down. Like today, they're pushing it down, but we know, wait, nobody's selling. The price of gold goes up. And as I said, if me and you were to buy 2,000 tons of gold tomorrow, it wouldn't move the price of nickel, because the price isn't looking at free market. It's looking at the derivatives and only the derivatives. So the real price is close to 20,000, as if the Mantle and the Jordan are priced at market. So I'm talking at market. Can we get there? Yes. I don't know how long, but when this dollar goes out, it'll be, like I said, it'll be the frenzy getting off the Titanic once people realize the boat's sinking and they're looking for a lifeboat. This is all over the world. Everybody, that's why I show you a euro. And when these guys figure out that it's broke and the U.S. figures out that this is worthless, there's only one choice: is you're gonna buy gold and silver. You don't really have a choice. So that's really where I'm also getting a high price. You won't be able to find it, and then it's going to be wherever you can find gold. You're just going to buy it to have it. And then that's going to push silver up, because people, well, I can't afford 10,000 ounce of gold. Therefore, I'm going to have to buy silver. It's still money, and it still gets me out of this crap. This is basically worthless. Yeah, you can go to the grocery store and pay $5 for a Coca-Cola now, but it just shows you how worthless it is. It used to be 10 cents for a Coke. It's $5 or $3. So keep that in mind. All right, let's see. So next. So if they can't keep the derivatives down, wouldn't it blow up the big short positions, aka the big banks? Well, that's the whole thing. All those, that's why they're doing the derivatives now, is because the banks are fucked. They're shorting a market that they should be long on. They shouldn't be shorting it. Why are you shorting it? Everybody is buying gold. It's the last thing you want to do with gold is short it. I mean, what are these? These are just idiots. So they're going the wrong way, and then they're getting caught, and they keep getting caught. So they've been caught. They've lost probably billions of dollars because eventually the derivative runs out, the ex-dividend date goes, or what I think that's what it's called in derivatives. There's the market date when it expired, the expiration date. So it expires, they got to pay up. That's why they keep running these derivatives on like the 25th, because that's the expiration date. So they try to kill it to get out of as much as they can. That's why you see it going down, because these idiots are doing derivatives going down, and they're the bullion banks, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs, and I think Citibank, and I think Deutsche Bank. It was Credit Suisse, but something else. So those are the banks that are running the derivatives, really just to make money on the derivatives. That's all they're really playing this for. Is I'll do a derivative. The price when a price goes really high, they do the derivative and watch it go down, like trading places, right? Eddie Murphy, he sells the orange juice at 140 and buys it at 29. So you can sell first and then buy. So when it gets really high, like this 24.80 or 24.90 price, then they do the derivative. So they sell it and then try to buy it as low as possible. Sometimes they get caught. When is the expiration date? And what is usually in an option, it's an amount. So you win the derivative if it goes to 24.20 or something like that. Whatever that price is. Problem is there's too much buying, so it doesn't get there, and then they are out and they lose. On most derivatives, 99% of options fail. So yeah, they're in a big problem there, and they're losing their ass. And then because they're the government, they go to JP Morgan, who runs the Fed, says, can you print me some more money? Oh yeah, we'll bail you out, no problem. Problem is the money's worthless, and you're 36 trillion in debt, basically killing it. So you really don't have, even if you do print it, it's just toilet paper. I mean, 1923, when the Germans tried it, and the Bundesbank printed trillions of or billions of dollars every day. It was just worthless. So they finally came out with the Deutschmark and used that to end the inflation, because the inflation's in the currency. So the inflation's only in this, or it's in this. But if you come out with a gold-backed currency, then that takes the place, and then these inflations end, and then you have gold-backed currency, and you're fine. And that's what BRICS is doing, going, well, the only out of this is gold-backed currency. So that, as I said, that's the end of October, and then we will see exactly what happens. I don't know exactly. They should reprice it at a higher price, because you can only print as many dollars as you have gold for. So if you have $50 million in gold, you can only print $50 million in paper, because when you go to the bank, you should be able to cash in your dollar for gold. That's the idea of it. So you have the security of the gold, and you can't inflate it. And that's really the key. You can't print gold. That's why gold never loses its value. Like the Mantle or the Jordan rookie, there's not a lot of PSA 10 Jordan rookies, I guarantee it. To get an 86 Fleer centered was extremely difficult. So knowing that is very limited. That's why the price won't go. And that's why the dollar goes down, is it's very limited. So if they can't keep the derivative, yeah, it definitely will blow it up. UBS, okay. So basically there will be a short squeeze. Yeah, I mean, you're going to, well, China and India are taking delivery of the gold. So because this is a joke, they're figuring 3,000 an ounce. So anything in 2,400 land, they just give it to me. I want all your gold that you have. And that's what China and India and Saudi Arabia are doing. Russia would do it if they could. I'm sure there's a way they're probably buying from India or something. Um, so that's exactly what's happening. And we don't have any gold. The gold in your Fort Knox from Die Hard 3 is basically China's. It's not ours. So they gave it China bought it but kept it in the thing. So in other words, if you bought this Mahomes card from me, it's really your card, but I still have it. I'll be in a month and give you the card. So I have the card, but it's not mine. And that's what China, we have their gold in Fort Knox, but it's not our gold. So we don't have any gold. So therefore we don't want the gold price to go up because we know we're screwed. Once the gold price goes up, China with their 60,000 tons and Russia with their 20,000 tons have a big party because they're rich. And, that's it. And then we don't have any gold. Oh, too bad. Why don't you have any gold? Oh, because we have the stupidest leaders in the world running our treasury. That's why we don't have any gold. Oh my God. By the rate Asia is buying silver, it could be over this year. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing with silver is, so let's say Bill Gates owns 2 billion ounces of it. Well, nobody really knows, but I believe there's 750 million tons at 32,000 ounces a ton. Gold's 250,000 tons, and there's no gold left. Yeah, I can go to my store because somebody sold it, but basically the gold's gone. There isn't any more unless you go to the bottom of the Spanish Armada or something and find it, or just boat wrecks or whatever. But basically, the gold's all gone, right? The Chinese have hammered it, and the Russians have hammered it. I mean, there's nothing left except for what's sold between people. Silver is similar to it, and with the demand. So if we understand, a lot of people have it, and I know a lot of people. I mean, Luke's got 2 big boxes of it, and I got 650 now. There's a lot of silver bought, and then there's the silver solar panel and electric batteries and Tomahawk missiles that they need the silver. So there's more demand. Where are you finding this? There's not a lot of silver left, I guess, if you can figure out who has it. So that's where you're at, and then it's gonna, when the demand keeps going and they can't find it, that's when the silver price goes up. It's like hey Luke, how are you? I'm fine. How are you? You talking baseball first today? I can check back. Well, we have a new guest, Pat. Pat's new to the class. Was talking, as you can see, the gold, the silver, and everything. So we've kind of sidelined to this now, so we can talk this and get back to baseball. So he's like, is comex breaking, and are we going to see, definitely gold back for bricks and the end of October and the price increase. So I'm trying to explain that to him as best I can as a new classmate joins us. So I'm very conscious who I comment with, if they're new or not. So you and Bobby and Greg and John, I know, but this is the first time I've talked to Pat. So I'm just trying to make sure he's up to speed. Good questions, and that's it. A lot of it is just unknown. The normal supply and demand puts the Jordan card at 500 grand, the Montana card at 120. That's normal supply demand. That's free market. But we don't have that in gold, so it's kind of hard to go off that deck to, how do you say, well, I know what it should be valued at, but what are they going to do when BRICS announces in October? Are they going to come out with $10,000 gold, or is it going to be $5,000? It's got to be more than the 2,400, and I think they're pushing it up to 3,000. in the next, probably, in the next few weeks, or maybe within the next month, it'll definitely be 3,000. And Bricks won't, and Comex won't be able to hold it down. There's a point that and I don't know why they're doing it. It really doesn't make any sense. We all know that the dollar's gone, but okay. So we can talk gold now, Luke, and talk baseball a little bit. Pat, some experts say that there won't be any silver available in 2025 on the market. Well, that's not true. There will always be gold and silver available, but like, all right, I got 650 ounces of silver. It's not available at $30 an ounce. Now, you want to make it $1,000 an hour? Yeah, I'll put 100 ounces will be available at $1,000 an ounce. So at certain points, there'll be silver available. At certain price levels, there won't be. Right at 30, there isn't any. Everybody's buying and holding and buying. I'm waiting till it goes up to a $700, $800, $1,000 an ounce. I'm not selling at all until then. And that's really the key to it, is people are holding it for that. Sort of like Bitcoin. I mean, everybody's got the Bitcoin. I'm not going to sell it. And so there's not a lot available, but there is if you raise the price. You made it $100,000 Bitcoin, you'd probably have some available. But gold's the same thing. When gold hits 10 grand, I'll be willing to sell a couple ounces. When it hits 20 grand, I'll sell a few more ounces. But as you know, it's like Luke's brother with the tickets. There's no ticket available for Ohio State, Oregon. However, secondary market at the right price, there's definitely tickets available. That's the way the free market works. Demand goes up, supply's low, price goes up, and the price goes up until some of the supply gets relieved. At that price, I'll sell you some. I'll sell you those tickets at $2,500 a seat. So, but not at 300, 500, 800 a seat. 2,500, then you might get me to sell it. So there's always going to be available. Be careful what experts you're listening to. Oh, you're welcome, Pat. It's my pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's good feedback. They may revalue overnight. Yeah, it's all based on the demand. I think the Shanghai Gold Exchange will take over the pricing of it. I think COMEX will get blown up because they don't have any more gold to play, and they got to come up with it to pay off the Chinese when they want to take delivery. It's a losing game. Silver might stay COMEX for a while, and maybe, but gold's gone. So we're going to get a Shanghai gold price, and it's going to be much higher. We got to get out of the derivative paper price and just to a real gold price, like the Jordan card at 500 grand. That's the real price. There's no they didn't push it down and it's $200. They let it go to 500, which is the real fair market price for a Jordan rookie. Pat, the mining ratio in the ground seems to be 7-1 now, silver to gold. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So that's where I come up with $2,000 silver based on 10-1, which is $20,000 gold, 2,000 silver. That's how I come up with that. And $20,000 gold is very conservative, because once the frenzy of everybody realizing the Titanic's sinking and they're screaming and jumping to get onto the boat, once Europe and America realize their dollars are worthless, they're going to be screaming and jumping to get into gold, and they'll buy it at any point. The advantage we have is we can buy 30, 40, 50 ounces at these cheap prices. And I've been doing that for a while now, 1,500, 1,600, 17, boom, boom, boom. See, I emptied my stocks and bought gold, right? I just sold them, bought gold with it. I don't want anything to do with the stock market. Too much risk in the stock market. I have no risk in gold. So this is my point. That's when I showed that scam video the other day from LA. These people, oh, I was moving my pension IRA into a gold IRA, but it was a Ponzi scheme, and I'm like, you're a fucking idiot. You got to sell that and go buy physical, and go get a safe and put it in the house, and that's how you hold your gold. You hold it. You don't let BlackRock touch it or these stock things. Are you kidding me? Haven't you learned from Madoff yet? What does it take for you to trust yourself and go buy the physical, hold it in your hand? What does it take to do that? Because you're still getting Madoff. It's just unfucking believable, these people. Get platinum as well. Well, the difference is platinum. It's not money. Gold and silver are money per constitution, right, Luke? That's why you're getting it. I mean, I would just tell you to get the here. You want to, if you want to play that game, then I would take you to this. Go buy this for 527,000 because you can't lose with Rolex. See, and it's a used one. The guy probably didn't pay 527 for it. So if you really want to get, smart, I would do that. I would do Rolexes. Here's one 820,000 for this Rolex. So Bitcoin, who cares about Bitcoin, right? I mean, is Bitcoin ever going to go to 820? And if it is, you're not going to hold it in your hand, where you get to hold this in your hand, or buy this for 72,000. I mean, that's if you really want to not buy gold and silver, but I wouldn't recommend platinum, because is there demand for it? It's limited, but you need demand. We've got the demand for Rolexes. We got demand for Mantle and Jordan and Montana. And whoever else, if you can find a Babe Ruth card or any of the good Yankees, DiMaggio, Gehrig, I mean, it's huge demand and extremely limited. So it's got to be very, very limited in supply, and it's got to be very highly demanded. Picasso, Van Gogh, Rolex, any of these superstars, Bobby Orr, Mantle, Willie Mays, get those and get them PSA 10. They're extremely limited. You'll make a fortune on those. The platinum, I'm not sure. What is it used in the cars, or maybe it's limited, but it's not money. So if it's not money, I just assume get them. I just assume get this card, then go buy platinum, because I don't know what it is. And I don't know, is that also, I don't think it's a COMEX price. So I don't know how that gets priced, but yeah, it make sure there's demand for it. If you understand what the demand for platinum is, and I think it's car catalytic converters or something, you ain't going to have too many cars because it's too expensive and the interest rates are too expensive. And you're in the middle of a heavy recession. People losing their jobs. So it's really not, cars are not really good investments with higher interest rates. You want to buy cars with their interest rates are 0 or 1, which we did, but now the interest rates are 5 going up. They'll never lower the interest rates because you got too much inflation. You can't lower the interest rates. If he could, he would have by now, but he can't. And that's the problem with him raising the rates the way he did. It's like an animal. He just raised them 0.75 without thinking. Interest rates take 6 months to see the effect in the market. He did it in a month, 5 to 6 times. And now he realizes that I probably should have just won 0.25% and got it up to 3.5, instead of rushing to get him at 5.5, realizing, oh, fuck, I did it too quick, killing the economy as he did it. That's the big problem. It's only mine in South Africa and Russia. Yes, you make a lot of sense. Thank you. I try to, Pat. It's a very good class today. So many gems being told today. Thanks, Real D. I appreciate it coming from you. Well, I try to do real gems every day. It's just where it's almost like I'm out of body. It's like I just kind of think about these things. It's not planned. I don't have a script I follow. I just kind of go by what my experience. But yeah, um, I've been thinking about, like, everybody's so excited about Bitcoin at 70,000 or 60,000. I'm going, fuck. I mean, here's the Mano card at 72,000. Why is everybody so excited about Bitcoin? Only there's many Manos at 72. And I bet if you got a good rookie as a if you got a 52 tops Mano and PSA 5, it would probably be $5 million. So why does everybody get so excited about Bitcoin? It's not money, and it cracks me up. It's like, what? Have you never invested before? I think that's between betting football and sports cards. That's up my alley. The Bitcoin, I just look at like, no, this is a Madoff. This is Ponzi scheme. Why? How does it go up in value? Nobody knows. I know why my Mano goes up, because he's fucking very highly demanded. Everybody loves Mano, so you can't lose with Mano. And this is a 1968 card, 72 grand. Let's see, Pat. Okay, thank you, Real D. Pat, I wish I had you as a professor in my younger days. Yeah, I know. A lot of people say that. I collect vintage video games made in Japan. What's the market for that? I mean, that's probably good. The collectible has to be limited, and it has to be highly demanded. If you understand those two concepts, you'll make a lot of money, AKA Mano. I got a 68 Mays. I got a 65 Mays in the urn and Pete Rose, because my ex took me to card shows, and I was buying the 90 hoops cards. Oh, here's a Jordan worth $3. And then it dawned on me to get the older players. We're still very cheap. So I'm going through the 65 tops, and I love the design of it. I always love the pennant. Where's my 65 Mano? So this card. So I love the design of this. This is a 65 tops. I'm surprised it's only 60,000. The other one, I guess, because the other one says last year, it maybe has more value. But I went into this, and I knew to get mint condition, which meant corners have to be sharp and not bent. The centering has to be fairly 50-50, but you can get away with 60-40. And then there can be no scratches on the pitcher and no ink mark. The pitcher's got to be clean and in focus. So understanding that's what I went after. So Pete Rose 65 and a Koufax 65 and a Gibson and all those players. But that was the understanding, is because they'd have a higher demand. And then it became, if they were in mint condition, then then there's more demand for those, and the supply of mint condition 65s were very limited. There's a lot, but in good condition there weren't. So I knew enough to do that, and that's how I collected. I said, fuck the 1990 stuff. What do I care about that? I'd pick up a Barry Sanders rookie and an Emmett rookie. I mean, that was about it. Luke, I just bought my son a Paul Skeens rookie card. Yeah, you said that. Laugh out loud. It's the pick of him starting the National League All-Star game. Is it numbered is it like, what you should find is a Skeens here, 50 count, right? You want to get cards that are numbered 20, 10, 50. I have an Yzerman card, Steve Yzerman, 1 of 1. I'll show you to you next class. That's what you want, because they're very limited, because there's supply. The supply's low, and then the demand comes because the supply's low. Oh, you got a 20 count Barry Sanders. Oh, I want it because it's 20 count, because people know they'll make money on it. So that's the other thing. But no, that's cool. Gets him into that. Yeah, he's pitching, and you're going to the game because it's the 18th, I believe. So good luck at that. Enjoy. Let's see if he pitches well and keeps the score under. Pat, Pat, what most people don't understand now is that the bond market has turned in 2020. It's a bear market now. Pension funds are in big trouble. Oh, that's, yeah, you said, Luke, about 18. Well, the problem with the bond market, what's a bond? An IOU. Do you want an IOU? Do you want to buy a bond, which means they're going to pay you later? So I give it to you now. I give you $100 for the bond, and you pay me back. You give me interest. You give me 5% interest, and in 5 years, you give me back the $100 plus the interest. Who's going to pay you back? They have debt of $36 trillion. Are you really thinking you're going to get paid back for your bond? Pensions are in trouble because they're not in gold. Anybody that's not in gold is in big trouble. The biggest key is the dollar is worthless. This has no value. Like I said, I was at the store a couple days ago, and all of a sudden my tuna went up 30 cents a can. I mean, oh, okay, here it comes. I'm in big trouble. But that's the biggest key of all, is knowing that the dollar's gone. The dollar's collapsed. You can't print it like this. The MMT Keynesian people think, oh, you can just keep printing it, like Jim Rickards. Oh, yeah, just keep printing it. It's fine. Nothing can, you just keep printing and printing and printing. Okay, first of all, that's bullshit. You can't keep printing. That makes the value of the dollar zero, which is why all the dollars are going to zero. Now, I don't know if this is all a George Soros plot to bankrupt the world, to get revenge on. He's a Nazi. Amazing. He was in World War II, so he's probably the last one left, but he's behind all this. He probably wants to bankrupt the world and walk around goose stepping around his house. But I don't know what that is, this major reset plan or whatever bullshit. All you need to know is just buy gold. You don't have to, we're not going to play in the reset. They can go fuck themselves. That's how we fight back. We use our brains and we go, what's the problem and what's the solution? The problem is you're printing the dollar worthless and nobody knows it. So everybody's going to get fucked except for us. And then the solution is gold, but they don't have it. It's too expensive. Maybe they can still buy a little silver, but how many people even understand it? None. So if you have gold, though, you're fine. Gold price shoots up and you're fine. You can go grocery shopping all day. Not a problem. Well, that's good. It sounds like a nice night there. Enjoy, Luke. The whole system is pretty much broke. It's just now that we're not on the petrodollar, the dollar's gone. You got 36 trillion in debt. Like that isn't enough. Yeah, I mean, it's just terrible. So absolutely, it's breaking. But what they'll do is, I guess the U.S., in my mind, they should come out with gold-backed currencies. The only thing that can save them. But they'll probably come out with U.S. dollar #2, and they'll blame Putin and the war. Oh, it's all Putin's fault. He ruined the dollar. All that money we paid to the Ukraine. So we got to come out with USD #2. They'll have to, because you can't, in a free market, as I talked about Say's Law and Adam Smith, you get paid to go to work and you use that to pay bills and food and vacations. You can't take the medium of exchange out of the equation. I mean, who's going to work? Well, sorry, Luke, we don't have anything to pay you. We can pay you in tomatoes. I mean, how's anybody going to go to work if there's no money to pay you to go to work? So that's the biggest problem, right? So then nobody will work. How do you pay rent? How do you go eat? I mean, so you have to have the medium of exchange. But it isn't the bullshit junk silver. Like, these people are so stupid. Oh my God! I'll buy a Liberty dime. That'll feed me. Yeah, if it's taken and you don't even know the value of the dime or the value of what you're buying, because it can only be valued in silver for it to work. Yeah, well, whatever the Great Reset is, I think we need to move to Russia. They're more capitalist than we are. The reset will be with constitutional gold and silver. Well, as we said, um, there won't be CBDCs here because the banks won't allow it. Think about it. You deal with Wells Fargo and JP Morgan and Chase, and they have all the customers, right? The 350 million people who live here are in the banks somewhere. The Federal Reserve or the central bank, I guess that is the Federal Reserve, it's set up to handle 10, 20 banks. It's not set up to handle 350 million people. You could never do a CBDC. How would you do it? And do you think the banks are going to allow? Do you think JP Morgan's going to walk away from, or Jamie Dimon's going to walk away from JP Morgan or Chase or Wells Fargo? They're just going to walk away? Fuck no. They run the country. There's no fucking way. You're going to get them out of the picture. So there won't be a CBDC here. There might be one in Europe or some other countries, but there won't be one here. And that's where it's at. So, as far as all the timing, I can't really, I can only say BRICS October 20th or 22nd, they'll announce the gold backed currency. I don't know what price. That's got to be higher, but I don't know. I know Shanghai Gold Exchange will be pricing it. I don't know how long COMEX will keep doing gold. They'll probably keep trying to do it because they make money doing these stupid derivatives. But slowly we're phasing the West out, and we're going east and south to China and Russia and India and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia wants gold for oil. Well, I'm sure they're going to need a higher gold price. There's not that much gold in the world. See, that's where there's only 250,000 tons of gold, which is not a lot for the whole world. And so you've got to set a higher price because at this price, there's just not enough gold. So you're going to need it to be much higher. That's why I'm getting about 10,000. You need it there. I mean, how many Indians and Chinese are there that they're all going to need gold-backed currency? And I showed you yesterday what the Zimbabwe, it's just the dollar and it's gold-backed. It's just like this, only it's gold-backed. So that's what you'll be using. But they can't. How are they going to keep it at $2,400? It's insane. So you need a higher price to print more bills for all the people. Well, hopefully, Luke, it'll be gold and silver. But we don't have gold and silver. That's our problem, and we're too stupid to buy it now at these low prices. So I don't know what to say on that. It's what it should be, but we don't have it. So how are we going to do it unless we piggyback onto the BRICS gold-backed currency? Real D, do you think we may go to war soon? Well, aren't we at war? We're at war with Russia, and we're at war in the Middle East with Israel. We're at war. Ukraine doesn't have an army. They're getting all their guys killed. They had 500,000 men killed. And believe me, most of them are fleeing to Poland and Romania and Hungary. So no, there's no Ukrainian army. We're fighting Russia now. But we're not doing it with our men. A very interesting way to fight a war. Let's do it. It's like contract employment. Well, you don't really work for GM, but we'll hire you, Howard, to, Joe's going to pay you, but, So we are at war. I don't know other wars we'd be at, but yeah, we're fighting Russia now. And China, I show you the things on China. They're in no condition to have a war. Their military is not getting paid. They're basically broke. Their airports are empty. Their stores are empty. I mean, China's in big trouble, so I don't see them going to war. Wars are expensive. However, they do have the gold, so I don't know what they're waiting for on their gold. That's just ridiculous. So yeah, China. We are not going to war with China. China is now on war, and they can't afford it. They don't have, they have the gold, but again, we'll wait for BRICS to come out with the gold back stuff. You think there will be nuclear war as a cover? No, there will not be nuclear war. because nobody wins. Russia's got all the gold in China, and they, are now controlling everything. They now got this gold-backed currency. The last thing they want is a nuclear war. They lose. They nuke us, we nuke them. That's the end. Why would they want that? Russia does not want it, neither does China. You got some idiots here. I don't know. Maybe they realize the dollar's going out, their economy's going out. We're about to be Rome #2. So maybe we push the button, but I know Putin and China do not want to push the button, or Saudi Arabia. None of those guys, because they know there's a retaliation. So you don't want it. So I don't know. I trust Trump won't do it. I don't know. I'm shocked Biden didn't do it. Kamala Harris, we God hope she's not president. So I don't think it would come to that. They don't need to. They just put out a gold-backed currency, and they've defeated the West. We're done when the gold-backed currency comes out, because in a free market, would you rather have gold or would you rather have toilet paper? And I don't think too many people nobody wants this now. All these countries are getting out of the dollar. All the OPEC and the petrodollar's gone. Yeah, you can still use US dollar to buy oil, but China's buying oil and Russia's buying oil, and they want to get paid in gold. So do they really want the US dollar? They all know the US dollar is worthless. We know they do it. You can't have $36 trillion in debt and think you have any value in your dollar. Who the fuck are we kidding here? Not possible. Hey, Greg and John, you're late, but we won't say anything. Yeah. Now, the nuclear war will be the gold. That's nuclear war. That's how China and Russia win. They just implement that, and it's all gone. And then that's it. And then you're looking at that. But, China's in big trouble. They're broke. I don't know what the fuck they're doing there. But the other problem is you got 60,000 tons of gold. When are you going to put that into play? Because your dollar's gone. Your cities are gone. And you're having revolutions. Today, it was with the airport's empty. The biggest airport in China, there ain't a person in the airport. Nobody's flying. Well, they probably don't have money. All the Americans who were living there have gone. All the rich Japanese who are running businesses have gone back to Japan. That's another country going bankrupt, is Japan. I showed you those banknotes yesterday. When you see a $10,000 and a $5,000 banknote, it's over. South Africa now. Africa wants to go gold back now, so they want to do a gold back currency. So more good news for gold, right? I mean, there's not that much gold for all these countries. I mean, they can go on the gold back currency at a much higher rate. That's where I'm talking to 20,000. You cannot go on a gold back currency at $2,400 with all the people and everybody in the world getting onto the gold back system. It's got to be 10,000. You can't, because you've got to have the dollars printed to cover the gold. So the gold covers the dollar. So if there's 10 billion in gold, you can only do 10 billion in dollars. But you can't have the price of 2,400. You need a price of 10,000. And that's where we're getting these higher prices, which will then kick silver up, because as people realize their dollars are worthless, they go to buy gold. That's 10,000 an ounce. Silver's silver, $100 by then. So silver will crank up to 1,000, 1,500. And it's amazing how many people just don't get it. They're just, wow. It's hard to listen to YouTube. I listen to Andy Shackman and I go, this guy's an idiot. I mean, he talks well, but if you listen, he doesn't say anything. He just rumbles on and on and on and on. But he doesn't get it either. So I don't know. Like I said, Egon's probably the only guy that really kind of gets it. Mark McGuire gives us our European view. But nobody in the U.S., they're just all idiots. It's hard to listen. It's like I can't do it. Luke, Pat, that could happen. They'll need to do something to cover the fractional reserve system breakage. JJ McCarthy's already hurt. What happened to JJ McCarthy? I haven't heard that one. Leave it to Greg and John to take us off of gold into JJ McCarthy. Well, I don't think they'll do a nuke though, Luke. Um, they'll just they'll just announce that because of the war, and they'll come out with the new currency. That's what they'll do. And I don't know what they'll do with the debt. They can't obviously pay it back. They can't sell their treasuries, right? When they try to sell their treasuries, the other thing is China just sold $3 trillion worth of treasuries back to us, and they're buying more gold with that. They got 3 trillion more. Well, believe me, they're going to be selling that back to us. That's more the nuclear financial world than that, or the gold. Not, you don't fire a nuke. They got business. They want us as customers. They don't want to nuke us. Who are they going to sell their shit to? So there won't be nukes. Um, but yeah, I mean, the war will be. We're doing it now with Russia. It makes no. I think what it is. It's about the military complex just trying to make sales. And then it's really the oil. If you Google oil, what cities have oil in the Ukraine? It's Crimea, it's Odessa, it's Kharkov, and it's Donetsk. Those are the cities packed with oil and natural resources, which is probably what the U.S. was going after the whole time. And Russia, not being stupid, is protecting it. And that's what it's been the whole time. And they're just, the magician holding the right hand while the left hand does the trick is what they're doing. Oh, look what's happening. Yeah, they're protecting the oil as always. We probably could have negotiated it out. Shell and I think Esso or Mobil was already there trying to pump it out when the war started, and they had to leave. But that's all it is. Ukraine's too stupid, and then all their rich farmland. I don't know what they're doing with that, but this is not a war. It's Russia 72, Ukraine 0/US. We can't really invade Russia. That would be the only way they'd nuke if we started invading like Moscow and St. Petersburg, then maybe, but I think they have such strong firepower they would just fry us with their with the drones and everything. But yeah, if you have to choose who's the better coach, Putin or Biden or whatever, it's like Lombardi against one of the Lion coaches. It's not close. He's out for the season with torn meniscus. Sorry for changing topic. Well, oh, that's too bad. I really will miss it. What's a torn meniscus? That's your knee? How the hell did he tear his meniscus? Oh, well, too bad. You have to look up Francis Hunt, aka the Market Sniper. I've seen him, but what about him? At least, yeah, Francis Hunt. I don't know. Why is he bald? I don't know. I listen to some of those guys. They're all. Problem is, I'm an economist, so I understand an economic supply demand. Adam Smith. I live in that world. Most of these guys, even like Alligator, Mark McGuire, they're just stockbrokers or bankers. They do not understand Austrian economics. So most of these guys don't get it. Michael Pinto or Scheckman, for sure, Peter Schiff's an idiot. They don't get it. They just talk like salesmen. They go through the words, but they don't understand it. I heard one guy try to, so I explained the Titanic pretty good. And then I hear that Texas guy with the cowboy hat try to explain. He couldn't explain it. He used the Titanic. Well, all the chairs are leaving the decks on the Titanic. That's not what I say. I mean, he doesn't. He steals from me, but he doesn't get what I'm saying because he's not an economist. And that's the problem. Listening to salesmen, they are just salesmen. Look at Madoff. He was a great salesman, but didn't really say much. But he spoke a lot. Ukraine also has huge lithium deposits. Yeah, I like BlackRock. They're an investment bank. The guy sold houses. The guy Larry Fink's an idiot. but they want to and they don't own it. If you give them money to run the stocks, they don't own the companies. They're just managing your money, not theirs. So I hate that. Well, he's a communist who wants to control, but he's very ignorant. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's just trying to be a salesman. Like he sold houses. That's his big thing. He went to UCLA and he got a degree in like um, what was it? I don't know, like public speaking or sociology or something. He doesn't know what he's doing. And then he was selling houses, and somehow he started working for BlackRock. So all he's trying to do is get sales. So he went to where do you go, Saudi Arabia, and he said, "Hey, we can make you money if you put your money in the stocks." So all their Saudis' money they're taking out of the pension and putting it in the BlackRock, and he's investing it in stocks for him instead of buying gold. I mean, it's insane. See, they don't want you in gold because they don't make commission on it. That's why you can never listen to a financial advisor because these guys make their money on selling you stocks or real estate trust or annuities, something in the paper world, something in the banking world. Gold doesn't live there. Gold's with Mantle, gold's with Rolex. You ever hear them tell you to buy a Rolex? That's the biggest no-brainer there is, right? What did I show you? I mean, so here's a Rolex for 527. Do you think they're ever going to tell you to buy this as an investment? You know what? You got $5 million. You might want to buy this one for 527, and you can't lose. No, I don't think that'll get on. That'll get in the conversation. Oh no, buy stock, buy Disney, buy Amazon and Apple, like everybody else is doing, while the rest of the market collapses. And it's just a matter of time till the stock market crashes. That's the same thing they're doing with the derivatives. They're printing money. JP Morgan prints money and puts it in the market and makes it go back up that $1,000 it lost to make it seem like the market's fine. And we all know it isn't fine. We all know we're in the middle of a recession. They won't tell you that though. They just won't say, oh, by the way, we're in a recession because they got an election to win. So everything is skewed. It's just so ridiculously reported that most people have no clue. We're all getting fucked, except for us. And that's why I talk very openly about what's the reality. Um, I mean, you have your choice. You can buy Mantle, you can buy Rolex, or you can buy gold. But gold and silver is money, so you want to buy that. But if you have extra, then go buy a Mantle card, and you'll be surprised how it won't lose its value. For some reason, I don't know why, but Mantle won't lose its value. Yeah, the lithium's probably true there, Pat. I mean, there's a lot of, when I say minerals, it's probably lithium, oil, all that stuff, and the soil is very rich there for food. It's like the number one in the world for wheat and food. So it's a very rich country, but we didn't have to invade it. We could have gone negotiated with Putin probably. He seems to be a very open guy. Like if we said, "Hey, we want to take some of this minerals and food. How much, will we pay for it?" But he already knows the dollar's no good, and we don't have gold, so I guess we use force because we don't have any other way to pay for it. Uh, Gold. Let's see. What are we saying here, Pat? Gold bricks unit on a blockchain is going to circumvent the Western financial system. That's unbeatable and can't be sanctioned. Well, yeah, I mean, that's exactly what they're doing. It'll be a gold backed currency. There'll be trade settlements. So if you're China and you want to buy oil from Saudi, or if you're Indonesia and you want to buy oil from Saudi, you'll just use it. But there'll also be dollars for the public to use. You'll have this bricks, $5 gold or $10 gold, and they'll have to adjust their prices in the market. So you'll see firsthand, Luke, what's going on there. All of a sudden, Dario will go to the grocery store and the prices will change, and she'll need gold backed bricks currency. There'll probably be a period where you have your currency And we were talking today, and she was texting me at work because I was pissed about meeting. Like, when the fuck are we meeting? And so she was texting me. She says, I didn't get my bonus this week because I talked on the phone. I texted too much on the phone. And I says, well, what did they, what was your bonus? Oh, it's 10,000 rubles. Well, 10,000 rubles is $100. So, I mean, they're not, they're not wealthy by any means, but now she got 10,000 gold back currency as bonus, then that would be a different story. I go, you work at a call center. What the fuck? So you're texting me. So I tell her, text me on your lunch break instead of while you're at your desk. But anyway, that's a new story. So yeah, the blockchain's just a general ledger. People make such a big deal about it, but being in finance, I know you pull a ledger to see all the activity, and that's all a blockchain is. It's a fucking ledger. Oh, Luke gave me, 1 Bitcoin or 1 gold-backed currency, and I gave Pat 10 gold-backed currencies, and Luke gave me 5 more, and it's all on the ledger. It's all it is. I mean, they make it like it's a new invention. It's a general ledger. It's what every company uses to record their all their transactions. Geez, oh, it's no different than having it on SAP or PeopleSoft. People make a big deal about it. Anyway, so as we can see, gold, the derivatives are a little bit, but they're a lot more on silver right now. But it's a buying opportunity. I love when these guys are saying, well, profit taking. Nobody profit takes gold and silver at these prices. You've got to be kidding me. Plus, it doesn't even matter because, like I said, if I were to buy 100 tons of gold, it wouldn't affect the price. Only the derivatives affect the price. So these guys are a bunch of stock guys thinking, oh, it's like when Disney's price goes up 10 and people profit take it. Yeah, this isn't a stock, fellas. This is gold. Nobody profit takes. Nobody profit takes the Mantle card or the Rolex. It goes up and you're happy. One other thing I was thinking about with gold. So if you own 100 ounces of gold and gold goes up $100, how much money did you make? You just made 10 grand, didn't you? You made 10 grand for $100 going up, which is nowadays nothing. I mean, it does it every few weeks. So people look at Bitcoin and they go, oh, it's at 50 or 60,000. And I got in at, nobody seems to get in at 25,000. Everybody gets in at, it was $5 when I got in. And when it hit 1,000, I didn't think of selling. So they buy it and it goes up, but now it's done. It's frozen. It's 60. Larry Fink's controlling it. It's 50 something. It'll probably go to 40. But my point is, but gold, if you got 100 ounces and it goes up $100, you made 10 grand. So if it goes up from 2,500 to 30,000, you'd have made 50 grand with your 100 ounces of gold with no risk. It's going up higher. And people are like, well, I'm in Bitcoin. It's going to go to 1 million. Yeah, okay. I mean, but gold, all you need is 100 ounces to make 10 grand, and it's going to go to 3,000. You're going to make 50,000 with the 100 ounces. Now, granted, 100 ounces is a little bit more than it was before, and good luck trying to find 100 ounces. But I'm just saying, if you were buying or had a lot, or like Luke has silver, shit, when silver goes up, I don't know, when it goes to 50, he'll make $20 on all his ounces. He'll make a nice chunk of change there. So I'm saying is these can go up and way outbid Bitcoin, right? So everybody's, Bitcoin's going to 1 million. Well, why? And nobody can answer that question. But you can see gold. I was thinking about it going, wow, yeah, I just made 10 grand. I mean, it just went from 2350 to 2450. I just made 10 grand but you don't even think about it. You don't even notice it. You're just sitting there going, you're just going, oh, good, gold's up, gold's up, gold's up. But it's not hitting your brain that you just made, $10,000 because 100 ounces at $100. four zeros. So when it hits 3,000, that's 50 grand. I mean, but you're just looking at 3,000. You're not looking at that you just made all this money. And that's the beauty of gold. And it's just going to keep going up because of the demand. The supply is very limited. The demand's huge, and more demand's coming in once we get out of fucking comex and into a real world when me and Luke can buy it and make the price go up. So that's really the hidden value of gold that nobody's seeing, because they all look at paper prices going, well, gold doesn't move, so I'm not buying it. Okay, what is this worth now? This went from 100% to like 98.5% are gone. Let's say this is worth 1%. Is anybody keeping track of the dollar being worth 1% of what it used to be in 1971 when we went off the gold standard? No. Nobody really knows the price of this because they don't tell you the price of it. Because if they did, there'd be riots all over the place. But everybody's getting fucked and nobody realizes it. Nobody realizes it's worthless. Nobody understands the $36 trillion in debt. They're going, well, who cares? I don't know it. Nobody understands the stock market's about to crash. The housing market's about to crash. Everybody's in the dark. Just there was a cute cartoon or a YouTube, and people are on their phones on a train, and outside everything's burning down, and people aren't looking. They're just on their phone, smiling, looking at a joke or something, and that's what's happening. It's so apropos. I mean, people can save themselves buying gold or silver, but they don't know to do it. And Luke asked me yesterday, well, what if they don't have it? Then they're fucked, because that's their only out, or unless you have a Mantle card or a Rolex. And I suggest people have sports cards that could save them a little bit. But what's the currency? See, the currency is the key. My Mantle is worth 72 grand only if there's a currency that I can sell it for. If there's no currency, it's kind of worthless until we get a currency. So that's the biggest problem, is what is the medium of exchange going to be? Or do we all move to Russia and get on the gold-backed BRICS currency, where we know that's a real currency? So that's our big problem there. So basically, it's the last opportunity to get anything physical now before the idiots get it. A massive stampede is coming. Yes. Just think at the end of the Titanic, and everybody realizes the boat's sinking. They didn't realize it when it hit the iceberg and the water's coming in. They didn't realize it then. They had to wait till the boat was slowly in the water. Then they finally said, oh, I think it's sinking. And then even then, until the boat started to really go, did they realize that they had to get on a lifeboat. Then the panic sets in. So that's coming. So sick of this wait. Well, just be patient. It's been all speculation. It still is. I thought BRICS was going to do something last year. No, they were going to do it in April, and it got moved back to October. What's your take on the housing market worldwide, since it's all prices in fiats? Isn't that all going to crap? Yes, exactly. All the houses will go to zero, and then we'll be buying them with gold, as I keep trying to tell Luke. You'll be paying with a few ounces of gold, because the biggest thing is a $500,000 house is priced in this. So it's not really it's 500,000 in these dollars. And when this dollar goes to zero, the price of the house goes to zero. Then they get repriced in whatever the new medium of exchange is. I don't know if it'll be gold, where we'll price them in gold, or it'll be the new USD2, which will be more toilet paper, and they'll get repriced in that. But yeah, that's where gold is going to buy your house, because I don't know what the value, it goes to zero, and then what? So people holding houses will be panicked. They'll need money, and that's where we come in with gold and silver, going, yeah, I have some silver. I'll take your car for it. Oh, you got a nice Mercedes. Here's 2 ounces of silver for it. And that's really what'll happen. But yes, everything gets reset to zero in dollars. except for our gold and silver, because it is money and it will be gold and silver priced. So there is no like price. It'll now be gold taking over. And it's what will gold purchase. And we know gold will purchase a shit more than the dollar. So this is like tuna's now like almost $5 in this, but in gold it wouldn't be. So that's what we need to understand. All right. So let's go to, well, let's take a look at gold. What is that now? Let's make it 24.47, down $16, which isn't bad for, it's been 24.76. So we didn't get killed too much. We got the one derivative at 8 o'clock, and then we get the other 10 o'clock derivative, which we normally get, but it bounced back up from the 10 o'clock derivative. And now, but it was a nice 24.76. See, that's Asia until about 6 in the morning, and that's when Europe starts getting involved, and then we get involved at 10. So they're pushing the price down. I don't really know why, but I guess because they don't want to. They don't. I really, it makes no sense, because it's not like it's helping our dollar. I mean, the dollar's gone. So just keep in mind, once you print, you're fucked. And then I heard today, oh, Biden says that the inflation's down to 2%. He's out of his fucking mind. Inflation doesn't go down because you've inflated the money supply. So unless you start burning the money supply, the money supply is 21 trillion here and 130 trillion worldwide for the petrodollar. That's 150 trillion. That's huge inflation. And more of it's coming back through China, and these other countries are starting to get out of the dollar. They don't want to deal in dollars. So when that happens, how are you going to lower inflation? You can't. I mean, you have to burn $140 trillion to get the inflation down. It isn't prices, but that's the bullshit they sell you. Oh, it's prices. Look at prices year over year are 2%. Well, that's because Coke did a price increase from $1.59 to $2.95, and they've kept it at $2.95 because nobody wants to buy it at $2.95, but they won't lower it. Well, wait, the inflation happened when it went from $1.59 to $2.95. That hasn't gone anywhere. So you can't. Why do they think year over year for 1 year is the answer to how much the inflation is? It's just bullshit. It's not prices. Prices are meaningless because some products you can't do a price increase on. Like Coke, they did it to $2.95. Nobody wants it. Now it's buy a bottle, get one free, or buy two, get one free. That's how they can't sell it, but they offer you this extra. So look, I see that with cereal and Fritos and Oreos. They're all buy one, get one free because nobody wants to spend $5 on something that costs you $2. So you cannot look at prices for inflation. It's bullshit. All you can do is it's the supply of money, which makes the dollar, there's too much money makes the dollar worth less. That's what they call purchasing power. It's what it'll buy. It's worth a lot less because you printed too much. And then the consequence of that is that it takes more dollars to buy your Coke, and they look at it as a price increase, which it isn't. It's your dollars gone to the toilet, and it takes more of those to buy it. So this whole nonsense of inflation as prices is bullshit. It's the way for the government to kind of say, oh, look, Biden got it down to 2%. He did it. And like, the fuck you talking about? You can't even measure it in percentage. If you actually could, it'd be like 30%, and it isn't gone away. Who are you kidding? So just because you say it's 2%, yeah, I could say today's Sunday. It doesn't mean it is. All right. Okay. Polly or Patty. Yeah, the housing market's, China's housing market's gone. And that will lead to Japan and lead to Europe and lead here. So what'll happen is all the rich guys in China who have a house there, have a house here, are going to sell their house here. So here's how it's going to happen. The rich Chinese and Japanese who have money here, houses, stocks, are getting killed there, right? The dollar's gone. China's in terrible recession. They can't, nobody can eat. You get your money out of your bank. The whole housing sector's collapsed because of Evergrande. Japan's in trouble. So what they do is, so their gold is in our stock market and our housing market. Oh, I need money. Well, I'm going to sell my stocks and my house, but everybody's selling, nobody's buying. And then that dumps the price because there's too many sellers and no buyers. You got to lower the price until you get to the buyer. So that's how our markets crash. They need their money. They pull it, sell their stocks, sell their houses, and all that tanks because now the supply demand, the supplies going down and the demand, there isn't any demand. So nobody wants to buy because of the interest rates being 8%. So they just dump the house for whatever they can get it. And that's what happens. So that's our housing and stock crisis is really coming from China and Japan needing money, pulling their money out of ours. There's a lot more foreign money in our stock market and our housing market than US money. So just keep a remember of that. All right, let's look at baseball. All right. Wow. Arizona 5, Colorado 1, bottom of the 4th. Yeah, there was a few early games. San Diego 4, Pittsburgh nothing. Luke, what's going on with Pittsburgh? 4-0 San Diego, bottom of the 3rd. Well, it's at San Diego. All right. Let's see, Pat. People have no clue what precious metals are. I gave up on explaining it to anyone. The only way I can explain it is I say gold used to be $37 an ounce in 1972, and now it's $2,400, and it's the same ounce of gold. That hasn't changed. It just takes more dollars to buy it. That's how I explain precious metals. Most people, the problem is don't want to listen. They don't want to be taught. I told some guy I'm riding the bike at the gym and he's next to me and I go, well, do you have any, where do you got your money? And he says, oh, I got it in my pension, my 401k. You got any gold? No, I got my stocks. That'll protect me. When I stopped laughing, I said, well, okay, well, good luck to you. What do you think of gold? Oh, no, my money's fine. I don't want to hear. And at the end, he said, well, I'll see you. And I'm saying it's all going to collapse. He says, well, I'll see you in the soup kitchen. I'll see you in the line at the soup kitchen. I go, I won't be there. I don't have any stocks. I only have gold. So I'm not going to be in any soup. I'll be running the soup kitchen, but I won't be there begging for food. But no, people have no clue. But it's not their fault. They're not taught it. I was taught it. I had an Austrian economics professor where I went in my master's program, and that's how I learned about Austrian economics in the first place. But nobody's taught precious metals. That's why it's so hard to believe it, and it's so hard to believe the dollar is going to crash because you've never experienced it. Unlike the French and the British and the Romans, and the Germans and the Zimbabweans and the Venezuelans, they just haven't experienced, and that we're the U.S. and we're the petro. Nothing can happen to us. That's their problem. Sounds like the situation in France before the revolution. Well, what happened, I was watching this thing on the Nazis, how they were counterfeiting the British pound. Hitler had a bunch of concentration camp people who were really good at it. And so they had their own little section where they didn't get, their goal was to make British pounds. And they made it so perfect that it actually passed as real bills. So they made a bunch of them and they were going to dump it in London and just dump all this money there. And it would have collapsed. The British pound would have went to zero. But instead they said, wait a minute, this is good money. And they started to spend it on military and food and stuff like that. So they didn't dump it, they spent it instead. But in that film in 1795, England, they were the ones who printed a bunch of French francs and they dumped them all into Paris and it killed the franc. That's 1795. I don't know what war that was, probably Napoleon's era, but that ended up killing the franc. So if I print a lot of money, it goes to zero. Spain, Rome, yeah. Where do you want to? Which example do you want to see? But people just don't get it. Or, well, now the Roman Empire didn't go down because of inflation and them pulling their gold and silver out of their coins. Yeah, that was it. And then the Ottomans came with their military. By the way, got paid in gold, and the Roman army left because they didn't have any gold. Well, I ain't fighting. I ain't risking my life. I'll risk it for gold, but I'm not risking it for nothing. So the Ottomans came in, and that was the end of the Roman Empire because their soldiers had gold. So don't tell me it wasn't inflation. Inflation kills everything because you ruin your market because all of a sudden what you're dealing with is worthless. Who's going to work when I'm not getting paid? Or worse, I'm getting paid in this shit that's basically worthless. So if you go to work, pay your bills in this crap, that's fine. And the rest put into gold. And if you need to sell an ounce of gold because you bought all this gold to get out of the dollar, well, so be it. But you're getting a lot more than you paid for it. When do you see the hyperinflation to kick in? 2025? Probably. We'll see how it's going to react when BRICS announces the gold-backed currency. It might be quicker than that. It might be Thanksgiving. Just be ready. But yeah, there's going to be a panic here. But I think a lot more people are buying gold and silver. When I go to my gold store, there's a lot of people there. I go to the owner, what's going on? Yeah, it's been busy. And it's a lot more busy when I go in now, just to take a look. I can see it's a lot more busy than it was. So a lot of people are kind of understanding, but a lot of people I see are selling. So a lot of people are having a hard time. They have all this money, like old coins or old dollars. They're retired, and then prices are going up. They can't afford it. So I see a lot of people selling their gold and silver or old coins because they need money. So it was a savings for them. So it's not necessarily they're selling it because it is high and they're selling it, but they actually need to pay bills. I feel bad for them because they're selling it way too early, but they need to eat or they need to pay their rent or whatever. Then that's what they have to do. But yeah, it's hard to get timings, Pat. It's hard to say, well, it's going to happen in March or April. God knows Luke asks me every time. It's just hard to once BRIC formally announces panic will start, frenzy will come in, precious metals, and then they're off and unattainable. Yeah, I think you're right. We'll have to see how they say it in October and when it immediately happens. But I agree. Yeah, I got you. They're off to the races. Yeah, I mean, people are not prepared for it. They're not educated. They don't teach this shit. Just moi. And even when I watch these guys try to teach it on YouTube, they can't. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to teach. They're not teachers, so they don't know how to teach it. But yeah, you've got to. I mean, I say it all the time, but you don't want to be in a gold IRA because that's not gold either. You're still in paper. You've got to have because okay, I got it. I'm like, okay, I want my gold out of my gold IRA. Oh, sorry, we don't have any. You think they're giving you the gold and the gold IRA, or you think they're keeping it, right? So, yeah, you're not getting it there. You've got to get the physical, put it in your hand, buy a safe, and protect yourself. I don't know. Comex might not break like that, but they might have to switch where it'll be more um, instead of JP Morgan price fixing it with derivatives and options, it might be more going off the Shanghai Gold Exchange prices, because it doesn't do them any good to have gold at 2,000 and they got it at 3,000. I mean, that's because they have to get if you demand the physical, they have to give it to you. So where are they going to get gold for 2,000 and then it's worth three? So I think it might collapse or it might change a little bit, but hard to say. Well, San Diego 8-0 over your Pirates. All right, so yeah, cool. Well, we don't really. I mean, the prices will go to free market soon with the gold. That's what we're hoping. It might take a little bit of time, but that's exactly what we need. We need the competition from Comex, which we got with bricks. That will kill it. All right, let's go baseball. We've got Texas and Boston. Boston 145, 9.5. Dane Dunning 4-7 with the 4.77 against Tanner Houck 8-8 with the 3.02. I like Boston here. Let's play them small. Texas is bad. I mean, I'm looking at theirs, and they're not hitting. They're not pitching. Scherzer's out. They're just not there. Washington, Baltimore. DJ Hurts for Washington, 2-4 with the 4.41. Dean Kramer, 4-9 with the 4.70. Boston, 175.9. I love Baltimore here. Give me Baltimore over 9. And we'll go 5 units. They hit the ball well. Washington's been hitting it well. Yesterday we had Washington over 9 and it won. The Cubs in Cleveland. James Talon, 8-6, 3.50 for the Cubbies. Alex Cobb, 0-1 with the 7.71 for Cleveland. Well, we didn't play this yesterday. I don't know what to do. Cleveland's such an under team with the bullpen, and the Cubs, I don't know what they're doing. The game's in Cleveland. I'm going to let it go. Seattle at Detroit. I had Detroit under yesterday because Scuba was on the mound against a good pitcher for Seattle. Seattle has no offense in the games in Detroit, and it was like 15-2. So okay, whatever. Seattle's a -140.8. Brian Wu, Ric Flair's guy, 5-1 with a 2.27 against Bo Brisky, a bullpen choke, 1-2 with the 4.57. Detroit starting to hit. Boston, Seattle can't hit. I don't know. Well, they hit Wu. Wu's pretty good. Brisky stinks. What kills me in baseball now is the starters go 5 or 6 innings, and then here comes the bullpen, let's say the 6th, 7th, 8th, and they shut you out, even though they all got 3 and 4 ERAs. I'm like, what the fuck? Why aren't they hitting these bullpen guys? And I think a lot of it is because they'll come in. If it's lefties, they'll bring in their lefty reliever. And if it's righties, they'll bring in their righty reliever. And they're just they can go for three batters, and then they move on. So I'm leaving Detroit. I don't know. I have no idea. They're so inconsistent. St. Louis and Cincinnati. St. Louis 115-9. Kyle Gibson 7-4 with a 3.99. Emilio Pagan 2-3 with a 4.22. Yesterday I played the under and it worked. We had Cincy under 8.5 won. This is an over game. I'm going to pass on this. Miami and Philly. Philly got shut out by Miami 5-0 yesterday. What am I losing my mind? Philly at 175, 8.5. Edward Cabrera 2-3 with the 5.20. Tyler Phillips 4-1. Okay, I got to go Philly over here. 5 units over 8.5. Now again, the only thing I'm not really doing is checking injuries. Like is whatchamacallit out for Philly, their slugger, Bryce Harper. I don't know that. I assume he's playing, but I don't know. And that's really the only thing I'm not doing here. But Miami's been hitting well. Philly off of a shutout. That's shocking. So look for Philly to have a big game. Houston, Tampa, Rhino Blanco, 9-6 at the 302, our no-hitter guy. And every time I say it, he has a bad game. Against Zach Littell, 5-8 with a 4.11 ERA for Tampa. I'm going to play Houston. They're a 125 favorite. I'll go 3 units. Oakland and the Mets. Oakland killed the Mets yesterday. I had a tough day. I had the Mets. I had the Yankees over. The Yankees went 4-1. I'm like, really? Oakland and the Mets. So Joey Estes, 5-4 with a 4.70 against David Peterson, 6-1 with the 3.34. Let's go with the Mets again. I'll just do 2 units. The Yanks against the White Sox. The White Sox killed them yesterday. It was like 7-1 or something like that. Will Warren for the Yankees. Who's this guy? 0-1 with an 11-17. Holy shit. Davis Martin 0-1 with the 3.65 for the White Sox. Warren will play, 1 inning, 2 innings. So it's not, you can't get all excited with his 11 ERA. The White Sox have been hitting, so let's go over here. New York Yanks over 9.5. 2 units. The Dodgers, Milwaukee. We got Walker Buehler, 1-4 at the 5.84 against Frankie Montes, 5-8 at the 5.1. We're going over. Milwaukee over 9. We'll go 3 units here. Toronto and California. Jose Berrios, 10-9 with a 3.97 for Toronto. Tyler Alexander, 9-10 with a 2.99 ERA. What is that? 9-10 with a 2.99 ERA? I'm going to pass. These teams are so inconsistent. Atlanta and the 49ers. Atlanta 49ers 125-7. Grant Holmes 0-0 with the 3.79 against Robbie Ray, 2-1 with a 3.98. I don't know. Over under 7.5 a little bit. I'm going to pass on that. So we got Boston 2 units, Baltimore over 9.5, Philly over 8.5, 5, Houston 3 units, the Mets 2, the Yanks over 9.5, 2, and Milwaukee over 9.3. And that is all I wish to talk about there. All right, let's go to college football. We haven't looked at the lines in college in a while. Now, the 24th, it's still 10 days away, but it's like next weekend. And major line movement. Florida State's down to 11.5, 56.5. This is from 13.5. And still 56.5. I mean, there's no way Buglia blows out Georgia Tech. They're too good of a team. Georgia Tech could get the upset. Again, they don't have a quarterback at Florida State. I assume they'll have a good defense. But it's hard to win without a quarterback. I assume they run the ball a lot, which brings the under into play here. SMU 27-57 on Nevada. This line jumped. It was 24.5. 27-57. So Nevada looks like they're a good team. Their quarterback's back. Nevada was pretty bad last year. Probably still pretty bad. And again, week one we watch. We make a few bets because we still see there's Ohio State, there's Alabama, there's Georgia game, there's Miami game, there's Ohio State and Oklahoma. So there's some games you feel pretty comfortable betting. But we go to the cream on the week one. Minnesota 2.5, 50.5 to North Carolina. Hasn't moved. Jacksonville State 3.57. That line hasn't moved too much. Michigan State 11.5, 46.5. Hasn't moved to Florida Atlantic. Oklahoma 42.5, 59.5. That's pretty much the same. It was 60, 59.5. Wisconsin 24, 56.5. That line hasn't moved. Look for Van Dyke on Wisconsin. Thank you, Professor. Appreciate it. You are my favorite. Well, thank you. It means a lot to me, Pat. If you bet football, you'll make a lot of money so you can buy gold with it. Teaserking.com, and there's a purchase picks, or you can sign up for the class where we'll go through everything. But I appreciate that, Pat. So thank you very much. We get back to gold. I want to do the sports a little bit because I do everything. See, instead of just doing one thing, inflation. I do a little of that, but mostly we just go all around the globe, like the wild world of sports. TCU 7.5, 61.5 to Stanford. Georgia, my boy, is 14-48 to Clemson. Look at my defense this year. Virginia Tech 13.5, 54 against Vanderbilt. Maryland 20.5, 48 down from 22. I don't know who's betting Connecticut. Pitt 24, 54.5. Against Kent. Kent's the Z team. Penn State 10.5, 51.5. Hasn't moved against West Virginia. Should be a real good game there. Miami 2.5, 54.5 to Florida. Hard to believe that line. How is Miami favored on the road at Florida? Jimmy Johnson's not coaching there. Come on. UTSA 24, 49.5 against Tennessee State. That line's pretty stable. Nebraska 27.5, 48.5 to Utah. Nebraska's not really explosive, but they got a good defense. Eastern Michigan 1 and 49.5 to UMass. That line hasn't really changed. Ohio State 50, 58.5 to Akron. Go Ohio. They should put 70 up there. Northwestern 4.5, 43 to Miami of Ohio. That should be a very close game. Miami of Ohio is a very good MAC team, as is Ohio. Syracuse 17, 47.5 to Ohio. And Syracuse has the Ohio State quarterback who sucked last year, so I don't know. Indiana 20.5, 50.5 to Florida International. Indiana's got the James Madison coach at quarterback. They should be much improved this year. Texas 35-59 to Colorado State. If I can find them. There it is. Texas 35.5, 59. Yeah, okay. So that line hasn't moved. Boise State 12, 57.5 to Georgia Southern. South Carolina 20-56 to Old Dominion. That really hasn't moved. South Alabama 7-65 over North Texas. That line hasn't moved. Look for North Texas to be a very explosive team this year, although they don't have much of a defense. Houston 2.5, 56.5 over Vegas. That should be a good game. Houston will get better as they get a good used to their coach. Vegas is getting a lot of better, and their quarterback went to USC. So they lost their quarterback, but hopefully they have a backup that's good. Troy 15-47 to Nevada. Oh, here they are. Troy's got the lousy offensive coordinator from Notre Dame. The guy's terrible. So look for Troy to have a pretty bad year with that guy. Nevada, we'll see. They get blown out by SMU, and then I don't know, maybe they'll play good against Troy because they're so bad. Alabama 31-59.5 against Western Kentucky. DeBoer, he'll have a good offense. I'm not sure about his defense there. All the players left, so we'll see. Rice 10.5, 49, down from 11.5. Against Sam Houston, who wasn't much of an offense. Rice isn't much either, so we'll see. Michigan 21-48 to Fresno State. Fresno State has a good chance to keep this game within 7. Texas A&M 1.5, 46.5 to Notre Dame. 47. That number came down. It was 50, went to 49. Now it's 47. UCLA 13.5, 55.5 against Hawaii. This will be interesting to see UCLA this year. Hawaii, all they do is throw the ball and no defense. Kentucky 26, 50.5 to Southern Miss. No change. Georgia Tech 20.5, 57.5 to Georgia State. Both teams had a 30 defense last year. Let's see what Georgia does against Florida State, Georgia Tech, and then they might blow out Georgia State here. James Madison 7.5, 51.5 to Charlotte. That's come down from 8.5. They got a new coach. Charlotte's terrible. Arizona State 6.5, 46.5 to Wyoming. Arizona State's not very good. Wyoming, new coach, new quarterback. We'll see. Arizona 30-54.5. Arizona's coach went to Oregon State, and they got a new coach. who's pretty good. Their quarterback stayed and their receiver stayed. So look for Arizona to be very explosive. They had a great defense last year, so we're in limbo with that. They had a 20 defense, but we'll see without the coach what they're left with. LSU 6-63 to USC. A lot of points in this game. LSU, good quarterback, good coach. USC, so the offenses are set by the coaches. It'll be just the system. And we'll have to see how the defense works. And Florida State, 21.5, 51.5 to Boston College. And that hasn't moved. We will see Florida State week 1, and then we'll see them week 1B. Boston College is terrible. So we'll see. Always goes back to gold. Well, gold's the key because they can't print it. So if you ever get the things that are limited and in demand, stick to that. Ballin version deluxe edition. Ballin, welcome to the class. Florida State has Dion in 80. Had Dion. Yeah, well, I know Florida State had Bobby Bowden and Prime. I think they beat Michigan that year. Unfortunately, they need. Well, I think they'll have a pretty good defense. They just need a quarterback. Boogly is terrible. So we'll see what he does. Anyway, so what else? So we just did baseball, college football. We'll do pros tomorrow. So college, we got some interesting games. You got the Georgia Clemson. You got the Florida Miami. You've got Ohio State. You got Texas. And then blowouts probably. You've got Penn State, West Virginia should be a good one. Michigan, Fresno State should be a good one. Notre Dame, A&M, and LSU, USC. So, you try to look for how do you want to play it, one team or another, or over or under. So a lot depends on the strength. So you got to learn the team and understand their strengths and weaknesses. What kind of defense do they have? Who's their quarterback? And then you can start slicing and dicing it to get down there. But that's how you pick football. But we don't know a lot because it's week 1. We know more if it was a normal year, but with this NIL and all these teams changing conferences, we don't know anything now. All these transfers, you don't know what you got. Just because, so all it is you got somebody's guy who sucked at the last game, right? So Ugly Boogla sucked at Oregon State, and now he's moving to Florida State to suck there. I mean, what do you? So he sucks, but some of these guys you don't know. I like Georgia Tech's quarterback. I think it's Kings. Very good runner, smart. So we'll see how he. He doesn't have to fit anywhere. That it's the same team. So we will take a look at that. And that's about it. So week 1's mostly get acquainted, learn the teams, look at the box scores. Is there a new quarterback that's how I find the quarterbacks, Rising and Van Dyke and those guys. You never heard of them. All of a sudden it's 22 touchdowns and 2 picks, and they're scoring 40 a game. So what you do is you see the guy scoring like 40. What happened? Then you see the new quarterback. I don't know who he is. And then all of a sudden it's a lot of points. They did that. South Florida did that to me years ago. Quentin Flowers, and they can't score, right? First 5-6 games, it's nothing. I'm betting them under and easy wins. All of a sudden they get like a 60-point game. I go, what happened? And it was Quentin Flowers started playing, and they couldn't tackle him. And it ended up where he was doing. So now you're betting on Quentin Flowers. So that's really what you're looking at. What else? So we know what's going on with bricks. We know what's going on with gold. I haven't heard about J.J. McCarthy. Let's go into pro football and see what they say. It's surprising because it's 3 or 4 days after. Knee injury is season ender for Vikings rookie McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy, Minnesota's first round pick, injured his knee in the team's preseason opener and underwent a full meniscus repair on it. McCartney injured himself in his NFL preseason opener. He stayed in the game despite his knee being sore. And the Vikings took a closer look at it 2 days later, and the Vikings discovered the torn meniscus. But initially said they would not know the extent of the injury and the timetable for return until surgery was performed. McCarthy wasn't expected to start the regular season. The team's plan was for Sam Darnold to begin to allow McCarthy time to sit. That decision was finalized for the team with the injury, obviously. So he plays in one preseason game and he's done. His career's over. Goodbye. See, here's the thing. Most of his work came against players far down the Raiders' defensive depth chart. So he's doing all this against the four string, which is my point. So it's really, did he look that good? But he still looked decisive and made nice throws. It was a positive debut, but had some bad injury news. Interesting. Luke, I still can't imagine me being able to buy a nice house for 4 ounces of gold. It seems like it could be many moons away. Well, yeah, but okay, so the dollar, when's it collapsing? But it's losing its value. Like the Venezuela dollar. It's still there, but it's not worth anything. But if you have gold, you could probably buy a nice house in Venezuela right now. You should go shopping in Venezuela, see what the houses are going for. Not that you'd want to live for a dictator. Um, that's a country where they had an election and he got killed. The dictator got killed, but he said I win. And they're all protesting it, going, well, this other guy had more votes than you. But he won't relinquish power. That's one thing I noticed in a lot of the governments. It's the military that runs everything. It's crazy. I wonder how gold price will jump after BRICS. Well, we'll see. Again, this is brand new territory, so we can't look at it and go, oh, we can only look at the countries that got rid of their gold and inflated their money, went to zero, which we've got 8 or 9 that we go to regularly. But I don't know. I've not seen a BRICS come out before, and then we got to go back currency, and that's it. So it's hard to imagine, how that works. But yeah, you'll buy a house because the gold will go up and the house will come down to gold prices versus dollar fiat prices. So everything's priced in fiat right now. So your car costs you 25 grand is in fiat dollars. The whole system will have to go to a gold system. Then everything gets repriced, and that's when you'll do it with a few ounces of gold. But we'll see. Anyway, I wonder how gold price would jump after. Yeah, well, we'll see after the bricks. Yeah, we just said that. Chargers, Jim Harbaugh wants Colin Kaepernick as coach. Oh, be my guest. Is he a good coach? Steelers deal close, but 49ers make Ayuk an offer. The Cowboys are NFL's champs when it comes to valuation. Yeah. Matthew Stafford leaves joint practice with a hamstring injury. We'll see how bad that is. They're all ready, though, with Stenson Benson, so they don't need him. Oh, sorry about that. Patriots coach Jared Mayo proposes unique punishment to curb training camp fights. Okay. Are we supposed to care about that? All right. Any videos? I was watching this little wokeness in sports. I haven't read it, watched it, and it was kind of stupid. But the trans, how a guy puts on a wig and then wants to compete against women. Really? Just look under the skirt. It's either a man or it's a woman. It's not that hard, folks. China's steel collapses. So China's $200 billion steel companies are collapsing. So another thing in China. Evergrande is finished. The parent company is bankrupt. So let's look at this for just a minute.
My notes and papers used to be all over the place, but now they're all in one place.
We don't care.
Total GDP in 2023. On July 25th, an announcement shook the market. Evergrande Auto's subsidiaries, Evergrande New Energy Vehicle and Evergrande Smart Automotive, were filed for bankruptcy and reorganized by creditors in court. It signified the largest debt crisis in the history of China's new energy vehicle industry. Just 10 days later, Evergrande Group's parent company, Kailong Real Estate, also faced bankruptcy liquidation. This marked the collapse of this real estate empire and signals the accelerating burst of China's real estate bubble. In fact, Evergrande Group's debt problems have been long-standing. As early as 2021, Evergrande was already mired in debt. By the end of 2023, Evergrande Group had accumulated a debt of 2.4 trillion yuan, approximately $330 billion, which exceeded Greece's total GDP in 2023. In just the 2 years between 2021 and 2022, Evergrande lost over 800 billion yuan, equivalent to the annual GDP of Hainan province. A debt crisis of this magnitude is rare not only in China, but also globally.
So just some more good news. So again, that'll come back to us. So Evergrande was pretty good. I thought they just made houses. Well, they did cars and other things too. Anyway, there goes China is going, and that's got to affect a lot of other countries, including us. So that's why I show it to you, because you can see if they're collapsing, what's going to happen. Anyway, I think that's it. I'm a little bit tired, and I think we hit everything. So Just buy your gold and silver. That's all you got to do. And you don't worry about anything. We don't know when the prices will go. We know they will go, but we don't know when. We hope COMEX goes out, but we got to see what replaces it. The Shanghai Gold Exchange, probably. And we did our baseball. So it's again Baltimore over 9, Philly over 8.5, Houston, the Mets, the Yankees over 9.5, and Milwaukee over 9. So that's your baseball picks today. We went through college football's lines, getting ready. We're still a week away from the first 2 games. Then the next week it really gets going, and that's it. We'll cover the NFL tomorrow. We do just see J.J. McCarthy out. Who cares? He wasn't going to be any good anyway. See, that's the thing with preseason. The guy comes out and looks like a champ against the 5th string. Hardly that. But see, I don't mind what Minnesota did. This could have happened the first quarter of his first game. So the fact he got hurt, but he needed the time to throw the ball. So we will see. But I don't question, well, you can't play anybody because they might get hurt. Well, this could have been the first quarter of his first game. What's the difference? It gave him some game time experience, which is very valuable. Anyway, that's about it. Have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Come, it's all the football you can get on the site. Purchase picks, buy the picks, or you can come cheaper and then go to my class, and I'll do the class and we'll go through the games like I do baseball. We'll go through the games and then the picks, and we can talk about 5-team teasers or bankroll or how do you bet it or anything like that. So that's coming. Well, next week it'll start with college, and then we'll go from there. If you want to buy the year, usually I allow payments. So if you want to, it's $750. You make a couple payments of $250 is fine. Otherwise, it's pretty standard. $75 for college, $75 for pro for a week, or $100 for both. And locks are included. If you buy college, you get the college locks, pro, the pro locks. And that's about it. So we will see. I will talk to you tomorrow about this time. And have a good day, everybody. All right. Take care. All right. www.teaserking.com. Buy your gold. Well, let's take the last look at gold. What's gold doing now? Always got to leave on a high note. All right, 24.48. So it was down as low as 24.39. We're back to 24.50. So that's not bad. We expect to get pulled down. But as Egon wants to call it volatile, it's only volatile in COMEX on paper. It's not volatile in the market. As we see the Mantle card and the Rolex, they're not volatile at all. They're, Mantle only goes from 75,000 up. He doesn't go down. It's not volatile. All right. Anything else? Pat, do you see the reset coming? Do you see the reset coming further down than in 25? Some are saying 30. Well, there's different types of resets. I don't know if you want to call this a reset, but the gold price and the bricks are happening this year, and it might go a little into next year. Is that I don't know. I define the reset, but you got to be careful who you're listening to. These experts who are clueless. Use your own judgment there, but I think we know the dollar's out. We know the gold's there. So how do they know 2030? I mean, I don't know if I can give you a specific date except for bricks in October. And they should move gold up, but I can't tell you they definitely will, but they should. It should be priced near 3,000. That I can tell you, but I don't know how they're going to price gold after that. And I don't know what this 2030 thing is. I mean, people will tell you that so you don't stress now, because well, if we tell them there's this and that happening, there'll be a panic. So who knows? It's really stupid. They don't trust us. But yeah, I the gold price will be done way before 2030, right? Figured between September this year and September next year, will have quite a differentiation in the gold price. But I don't know what this reset is. Yeah, if it's even possible, if it'll work, who knows? But I'm not going to worry about it. We got our gold. That's all. All right. All right. I will talk to you guys later. Any other questions? You're welcome, Pat. All right. Well, have a good night. Bet your baseball and enjoy. All right. Gold will be going to the moon soon. All right. Take care, everybody.